Dutch living has a quiet way of softening a day, almost like opening a window and feeling your body loosen without thinking. Their rooms stay simple and bright, while many people after 60 wake up to spaces that feel heavier than they remember. As we age, something subtle happens. Clutter steals our energy, decisions pile up, and the house that once felt warm starts to feel crowded inside and out. And it makes you wonder, what if life could feel lighter again? That question became real for Wayne, a 74-year-old retired truck driver who was used to the open road but felt lost the moment he had to stay still. Boxes stayed sealed, old maps sat in piles, and the quiet felt louder every week. His breaking point came when he stumbled over an old duffel bag and realized he couldn't keep living this way. Then he found 10 simple Dutch habits that instantly gave him a gentler rhythm and a clearer home. Here's the first habit that shifted everything for him. Habit 1. Inviting light back into your life. One of the most powerful Dutch habits is simply bringing more natural light into your home, and here's the secret. After 60, something subtle happens. Dim rooms start to weigh on us in ways we don't always notice. Shadows make the day feel slower, decisions feel heavier, and even our mood sinks a little without thinking. When Wayne finally opened his curtains all the way instead of leaving them half closed, he said the room felt like it finally breathed. That tiny moment instantly softened the space and softened him too. As we age, our eyes work harder, so bright overhead bulbs can feel harsh and exhausting. That's why the Dutch lean toward warm, gentle lighting. Wayne added 2 small lamps with warm 2700K bulbs, placed around chest height, one beside his favorite chair and one near the hallway. The goal is to spread soft light, not blast it from above. Even that small change made his evenings feel calmer instead of lonely. He also copied a Dutch styling trick, using sheer curtains around 50% opacity. They let the daylight pour in naturally while giving just enough privacy. When he switched his heavy drapes for sheers, the whole room brightened without him lifting a finger. And because natural light reflects best off clear glass, he wiped down his windows for the first time in years. He laughed afterward because something as simple as clean panes made the morning sun feel warmer and more honest. What surprised him most was how the light changed him. He started sitting by the window with his coffee, letting the daylight touch his face, and he said it made him feel present again, not stuck in the past, not lost in the quiet, just here. That's the real gift of this habit. It doesn't just brighten the room, it brightens your day, and sometimes, that's the first step back to yourself. Habit 2. The slow cycling mindset. One of the most comforting Dutch habits is the way people move at a soft, steady rhythm. Here's the secret, Dutch cycling isn't about the bike at all. It's about the pace. It's slow, upright, and calm, the kind of movement where you feel connected to the moment instead of rushing through it. After 60, something subtle happens. Pushing yourself the old way drains you faster, and even simple tasks feel heavier when you force speed. The goal is to move in a way that feels natural, gentle, and kind to your body. This was a big shift for Wayne. He spent more than 40 years racing highways as a long-haul truck driver, living by deadlines and mile markers. Speed was part of who he was. When he retired, slowing down felt wrong, almost like losing himself. But watching Dutch seniors pedal at an easy, relaxed pace, no rush, no tension in their shoulders, made him realize he didn't need to chase time anymore. He could move differently now, and it would actually help him feel more like himself. He began using the mindset inside his home. Instead of powering through chores, he worked in small 7-minute rounds, then paused. Wipe one counter. Breathe. Fold a few shirts. Breathe. Instantly, the overwhelm eased. As we age, our bodies respond better to gentle consistency than to big bursts of effort, and this slow rhythm supported his joints and his energy. What surprised him most was the emotional shift. Walking to the mailbox felt peaceful instead of rushed. Making breakfast didn't feel like a task to beat, it felt like a moment. He said his whole day felt smoother when he kept that steady Dutch pace. That's the heart of the slow cycling mindset, not doing less, but moving in a calm rhythm that makes life feel lighter, softer, and far more manageable. Habit 3. Choosing atmosphere over perfection, gezellig. One of the most comforting Dutch habits is choosing atmosphere over perfection. Here's the secret, Dutch homes aren't spotless or staged. They are warm, soft, welcoming spaces where the goal is to feel at ease the moment you walk in. After 60, something subtle happens. Worrying about how things look can drain your energy faster than the work itself. The Dutch focus on how a room feels, not whether every corner is flawless, and that shift instantly takes the pressure off your shoulders. Wayne struggled with this for a long time. He felt embarrassed when family visited, not because his place was messy, but because it didn't look finished. He apologized for the curtains, for the old coffee table, even for the way a blanket was draped. But one day he watched a Dutch home tour and noticed something surprising. Their spaces weren't perfect either. A cozy lamp here, a worn chair there, a blanket tossed casually over the backrest. It felt lived in, not staged. That realization naturally softened him. He didn't need perfect rooms. He needed comfort. So he made small changes that didn't require effort. A warm lamp at 2700K beside his favorite chair. A textured throw left casually instead of folded tight. A candle in clear glass to bring a soft glow at night. One small plant near the window to bring life into the room. The goal wasn't to redesign anything, it was to create tiny pockets of coziness he could sink into. As we age, atmosphere becomes one of the most powerful forms of support. Wayne said his home stopped feeling like a project and started feeling like a place where he could breathe. That's the heart of gezellig, choosing warmth, choosing ease, choosing a home that feels like a soft landing rather than another task to manage. Habit 4. Practical minimalism. One of the most soothing Dutch habits is practical minimalism, not the empty, harsh kind, but the gentle kind that naturally makes life easier. Here's the secret. Dutch seniors keep what supports their day and quietly let go of what drains them. After 60, something subtle happens. Every extra item tugs at your attention, even if you don't notice it. The goal is to move through your home without feeling pulled back by things that belong to an older version of your life. Wayne saw this clearly once he looked around his living room. Maps from old routes were stacked on a chair, mugs from gas stations sat in a row, jackets he hadn't worn in decades hung near the door, and a duffel bag full of fading receipts sat by his recliner. Naturally, he didn't want to throw away his whole story. But he noticed that every time he looked at those items, he felt stuck, almost like he was living with a life he couldn't return to. That quiet heaviness told him it was time for a gentler kind of clearing. So he chose one small area. He kept the map from his favorite drive and framed it. He chose the one jacket he still loved and donated the rest. He kept one mug he actually used and placed the others in a box for someone else to enjoy. A handful of tiny keepsakes went into a small memory box instead of sitting in piles. Instantly, the room felt lighter, and so did he. As we age, clutter becomes more than objects, it becomes noise and emotional weight. Wayne said that once he removed the things that no longer helped him, he felt calmer walking through his home. Practical minimalism didn't erase his past. It simply gave him space to live comfortably in the present. Habit 5. Clearing emotional clutter through honest talk. One of the most surprising Dutch habits is their gentle kind of directness. Here's the secret. They speak honestly not to hurt feelings, but to clear the emotional air so everyone can breathe again. After 60, something subtle happens. We start carrying things we never talk about. Worries about health, fears about the future, guilt about being a burden, regret about things left unsaid. That emotional clutter weighs just as much as the boxes on the floor. The goal is to lift some of that weight with simple, honest conversations that bring relief instead of tension. Wayne had avoided this kind of talk for years. He grew up in a time when men kept their feelings tucked away, and long-haul driving taught him to simply handle it. But naturally, that silence caught up to him. He and his son had been dancing around each other for months, short visits, polite small talk, nothing real. One evening, after watching a Dutch family talk openly about aging and daily struggles, Wayne felt something shift. He called his son and asked if he could stop by. No agenda, no plan. Just a quiet need to talk. They sat at Wayne's small kitchen table, the warm lamp giving the room a soft glow, and for the first time, Wayne spoke honestly. He told his son he was feeling lost, overwhelmed, and unsure how to settle into this new chapter of life. He admitted he didn't know how to ask for help without feeling weak. Naturally, his voice shook a little. Honest words feel strange when you haven't used them in a long time. But instantly, something softened between them. His son reached across the table and said, "Dad, I've been waiting for you to say that." That moment cleared years of quiet tension. No shouting, no drama, just truth. As we age, honest talk becomes one of the most powerful ways to lighten the heart. It removes invisible weight. It opens space for connection. And emotionally, it feels like opening a window in a stuffy room. Wayne walked away from that night feeling lighter, not because anything huge changed, but because he finally stopped carrying everything alone. That's the real power of clearing emotional clutter. It makes room for love to move again. Habit 6. The 1-cup method. One of the most comforting Dutch habits is the 1-cup mindset, and here's the secret. It's less about dishes and more about taking back control in small, steady steps. After 60, something subtle happens. Big tasks feel bigger, and even simple chores can feel like they swallow your whole afternoon. The goal is to shrink the day into small, doable pieces that build confidence instead of stress. Dutch seniors naturally do this without thinking. 1 cup, 1 plate, 1 tiny task at a time. It keeps life soft, steady, and manageable. Wayne needed this more than he realized. For a long time, his days felt scattered. He'd wake up, look around at the dishes, the mail, the clutter, and instantly feel defeated. Everything seemed like too much. But when he heard about the 1-cup method, using 1 cup for the whole day and washing it right after each use, something clicked. It felt simple, human, possible. So he tried it. He chose 1 mug he loved, kept it on a small tray on the counter, and washed it within 30 seconds each time he used it. No pile, no build-up, just 1 tiny ritual. Naturally, that small win started a ripple effect. He added the same idea to other parts of his day. 1 shirt hung up right after wearing it. 1 piece of mail opened immediately instead of left on a stack. 1 drawer organized for 5 minutes, then done. These tiny actions didn't drain him. They gave him momentum. As we age, our confidence comes from consistency, not speed, and Wayne felt that instantly. His kitchen stayed calmer. His mornings felt clearer. His mind felt less noisy. What he loved most was how this method changed the way he felt inside his own home. Instead of feeling behind before the day even started, he felt ahead, just by doing 1 small thing at a time. It didn't matter that the whole house wasn't perfect. What mattered was that he was moving again, gently and steadily. And that's the beauty of the 1-cup method. It shows you that small rituals aren't small at all. They're anchors. They bring order, ease, and a quiet sense of control back into your day, 1 simple moment at a time. Habit 7. Turning ordinary moments into rituals. One of the most comforting Dutch habits is the way they turn simple, everyday moments into small rituals that bring rhythm and calm into the day. Here's the secret. A ritual doesn't need to be fancy or complicated. It's just an ordinary moment you give a little intention, and naturally, it becomes something steady to hold on to. After 60, something subtle happens. Time can feel unstructured, mornings can lose their spark, and the day doesn't always have a clear beginning. The goal is to create 1 gentle moment that signals, I'm starting my day with purpose, even if everything else stays simple. Wayne found this through the Dutch tradition of slow coffee time. He loved how people paused everything, chores, conversations, rushing, just to sit and actually taste their morning. No hurrying, no guilt, no feeling like they should be doing 10 other things. So he made his own version. He placed 1 mug, 1 spoon, and a small jar of instant coffee on a little tray. Around 8:30 each morning, he boiled water, heard the soft whistle fill the quiet kitchen, and sat by the window. Instantly, he felt the difference. Instead of falling into the day, he stepped into it. He added a warm 2700K lamp beside his chair, the kind that gives a soft glow instead of harsh brightness, and he tucked a simple cushion behind his back for comfort. These little touches weren't about decoration, they made the moment feel cared for. As we age, our nerves respond more to softness and predictability, and Wayne felt it right away. His mornings stopped feeling empty. They felt familiar, almost tender. What surprised him most was how this 1 tiny ritual shaped the rest of his day without him trying. After his coffee, he naturally opened the curtains, stretched his shoulders, and picked one easy task to start with. No pressure, just flow. It gave his day a rhythm again, a sense of movement instead of drifting. That's the magic of turning ordinary moments into rituals. They don't ask much from you, but they give you grounding, comfort, and a feeling that your day still has shape and meaning, something precious, especially after 60. Habit 8. Balanced social connection. One of the most easing Dutch habits is how they stay connected without overwhelming each other. Here's the secret: they are warm, but they don't push. They say hello, share a quick moment, then naturally step back and give space. After 60, something subtle happens. You crave connection, but you also need quiet. Too much company feels tiring, and too little feels lonely. The goal is to find that gentle middle ground where you feel included without feeling pulled in too deep. Wayne struggled with this more than he expected. After years on the road, he never learned how to have small, easy connection. It was either complete isolation or a crowded visit that left him drained. But watching Dutch seniors made something click. Their interactions were simple: a wave, a 2-minute chat outside, a friendly nod. It wasn't heavy. It was human. He tried it by stepping outside each afternoon just to breathe in the air and greet whoever passed. No pressure, no long talks, just a warm hello. Instantly, it softened the loneliness. He also began sending small texts to his son, not long explanations, just gentle little updates that kept the connection warm without overwhelming either of them. To make it feel good, he placed a chair by his front window with a warm lamp beside it. That became his connection spot, where he could watch neighbors walking by and feel part of life without having to be in the middle of it. As we age, seeing the world move gently around us naturally brings comfort. Wayne said this balance felt right, connected but not crowded. That's the heart of Dutch-style social connection. It keeps your days warm, steady, and human, without taking away your peace. Habit 9. Parking worries outside the door. One of the most symbolic Dutch habits comes from something simple you see everywhere in the Netherlands: bikes parked outside homes, lined up neatly, facing the door. Here's the secret: it's not just storage. It represents leaving outside whatever you don't want to carry inside. After 60, something subtle happens. Worries feel heavier. Small fears echo louder. And the mind can follow you room to room, even when the day is quiet. The goal is to create a tiny ritual that tells your brain, this stays here. I'm stepping into peace now. Wayne connected to this idea instantly. For years he carried every worry with him: health concerns, loneliness, money questions, regrets about the past, fears about the future. They sat on his shoulders from morning till night. Naturally, he never said it out loud, but he felt trapped inside his own thoughts. When he heard about the Dutch habit of fietsparken, parking your bike and leaving the outside world behind, something clicked. He decided to create his own mental parking spot. Every afternoon, right before stepping into his living room, he would stop by a small hook near his doorway. He'd place one object there, sometimes a slip of paper with a worry written on it, sometimes just his hand resting on the hook, and he'd say quietly, "Not right now." One worry per day. Nothing huge. Just one. And naturally, it changed the feel of his evenings. The living room became a soft place again, not a thinking trap. To make it feel more real, he placed a tiny bowl on the entry table. No bigger than the size of his palm. That bowl became his parking spot. If a worry followed him around all morning, he wrote it down and dropped the paper in the bowl before walking further into the house. Instantly, his chest loosened. It wasn't solved, it was simply set down. And as we age, sometimes that's all we need: permission to rest our mind for a few hours. What surprised him most was how naturally the habit worked. By parking one worry each day, the rest of his thoughts felt lighter. He slept better. He moved slower. He breathed easier in his own space. It wasn't magic. It was a small ritual that created emotional boundaries. And that's the heart of this Dutch habit: you don't carry everything everywhere. You choose what enters your home, your evening, and your peace. Habit 10. Future-proofing the home. One of the most reassuring Dutch habits is how they prepare their homes long before they actually need the changes. Here's the secret: it's not about expecting the worst. It's about giving your future self a softer, safer life. After 60, something subtle happens. Little things that never bothered you before suddenly ask more from your body. A narrow hallway feels tighter, a dim corner feels harder to judge, a slippery rug becomes a quiet risk. The goal is to make your home feel like a partner, not a challenge. Wayne resisted this idea at first. He thought preparing his home meant admitting he was getting old, and he wasn't ready for that. But when he saw how Dutch seniors set up their spaces, wider paths, warm lighting, chairs at the right height, everything easy to reach, he realized it wasn't about weakness. It was about independence. Naturally, that shifted something in him. He wanted to stay in his home as long as he could, and future-proofing was the way to do that quietly and confidently. He started with the simplest thing, widening his walking paths. He cleared the floor until he had about 3 feet of space to move from room to room. It instantly made the house feel more open and safer. Then he replaced one dim bulb in the hallway with a warm 3000K LED so he could see clearly without harsh light. He added a small grip bar near the shower, nothing shiny or medical looking, just a matte black one that blended with the tiles. And naturally, it made him feel more secure stepping in and out. He also adjusted his furniture. He raised his favorite chair by just 2 inches using small risers so it was easier on his knees. He placed a basket near the front door for keys and mail so he didn't bend or reach awkwardly. Little things that took minutes but made everyday life feel smoother. As we age, tiny tweaks become big gifts. Wayne noticed he moved with more confidence, less hesitation. What touched him most was how these changes made his home feel welcoming again. Not like a place he had to manage, but a place that supported him. He said it felt like he was quietly taking care of his future self, giving himself the freedom to stay independent, steady, and safe. That's the heart of the Dutch way. Prepare early, live easier, and let your home grow with you, not against you. 6 months later, Wayne's home feels softer, brighter, and easier to live in. The light comes in naturally, landing on clear surfaces instead of clutter. His mornings start with that simple coffee ritual, and it instantly gives him a sense of calm. The hallways feel open, his favorite chair sits at the right height, and his kitchen stays steady because he follows the one cup, one task rhythm. After 60, something subtle happens. When your home stops overwhelming you, your whole body relaxes. That's the shift Wayne feels every single day. Emotionally, he's steadier too. The quiet doesn't feel lonely anymore. His conversations with his son have become more honest and warm, and that small memory box he made now holds only things that bring comfort. When he looks around, he doesn't see a life that's slipping away. He sees space he can breathe in. He sees a home that finally matches the man he is now, not the miles he used to chase. When he reflects on everything he's changed, he always comes back to one truth: the smallest habits made the biggest difference. A lamp in the right place. A cleared corner. One worry dropped in a bowl. Those little things, he says, gave me myself back. And naturally, that's the kind of transformation that lasts. Wayne's story is one so many people feel after 60, wanting clarity, wanting comfort, wanting life to feel manageable again. The goal isn't to copy every step, but to notice which habit speaks to you. Maybe it's more light. Maybe it's a tiny ritual. Maybe it's letting one worry rest. Which habit feels right for you today? If this brought you a bit of ease, tap like so others can find it, too. And if you want more gentle, steady guidance for aging with confidence, you're welcome to subscribe and stay close. We're building calm together, one small habit at a time.